Sins and Commandments like, I have a problem. This problem is not small. This problem is big. It's massive. It's even giant-sized in proportions. This episode was animated, I swear to hell, by A1 Pictures. Can we get a round of applause here? Can we get a goddamn round of applause? There wasn't a single bad shot in the whole damn episode. A lot of people I saw complaining that the episode was like lame or boring. And it's like, well, first off, the final battle's over. So, I mean, you got to have that sort of epilogue-y sort of feeling episode. And second off, who the hell cares? Did you see a bad shot? Was there one badly animated motion? Was there a poorly proportioned face? Was there, like, literally, the character models, not a single one looking like wet glue. Not a single one looking disproportioned. Elizabeth's eyes weren't all screwed up and too far apart or anything. Meliodas' hair, Bond, everybody looked like everybody. I mean, just look at this. And this. And this. They look like themselves again. Hawk looks like Hawk. Meliodas looks like Meliodas. Bond looks like Bond. Like, these are the characters that I loved. Gil looks like Gil. Henderson looks like him. Like, this is what we needed. I don't understand. Like, we're going to talk about this episode going through because this episode had me so excited. What happened? They just did the whole going around like, all right, so who's doing what after the battle? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? Just checking in with all the characters that we know and love, right? That's all they're doing, recovering from the end of the Holy War. The fight with the Demon King is over. We're going to recover, right? But, I mean, I haven't enjoyed an episode of Seven Deadly Sins since season goddamn 2. And now, beauty, wonderful. They look like themselves. And that's not the only thing. We're going to go through this episode because screw everyone who thought this was boring. First off, it's not boring. I always love, it's sort of like enjoying the Straw Hats from One Piece, just chilling around on the Sunny or the Merry. Or you're seeing that interim of just, your favorite characters sort of screwing around after the main arc in the transition period, right after Soul Society, Ichigo getting chased by Kenpachi, that hilarity ensues. That kind of stuff, I enjoy that. I enjoy these chapters, and I enjoy these type of episodes, because you get to see a little bit of everybody. There's a little bit of seriousness, there's a little bit of emotion, and there's some lighthearted fun. It's a well-done chapter, and it's a well-done episode. But I'm going to tell you, that's not the only thing. That's not the only thing. Remember when I talked about the soundtrack? Remember when I talked about the soundtrack in the last episode review? Yeah. Just to make a point here, they finally brought... This is why I believe that A1 Pictures is now, like, they got involved halfway through the season. Because not only all of a sudden is the soundtrack back, songs from season 1 are back, which was a fantastic soundtrack. The OST is back, but not just one. Not just Perfect Time from the last episode, which we've been missing for a whole season. Now, Perfect Time came back. Perfect Time opens the episode because they're just recapping what happened. And then we get, I like to call it the Elizabeth scene because it's all the or whatever. I can't hum, I'm monotone, but that theme is happening as the Seven Deadly Sins return, and Hauser and everybody meets them. Gila and Hauser and their crew, everybody meets them. I call it the Elizabeth scene, or song, or theme. I don't really know what it's called. I don't know the names other than Perfect Time. But that theme is back. I love that theme. And then it plays the like instrumental or the violin version or whatever in the last scene. Like, they play the original songs. The best ones from the original soundtrack. Like, they couldn't have made a better episode. How would you have animated it better? Like, seriously, what were you going to do? Everything looked flowing. Everything looked fine. Yeah, the faraway shots, not every character model was as detailed as a goddamn, movie poster level. But, I mean, it wasn't really in the A1 Pictures version of Season 1 either. The really far away shots, guess what? You weren't seeing the details of Meliodas' eye back then either. So, I'm just I'm sort of riding a bit of a high here. I had to watch this episode twice, but we're going to go through it. I just wanted to let you guys know, regardless of the events that happened before in this season and regardless of the events that happen after, if this is the only episode we get, I have one complaint, and I'll talk about it at the end of the review, about the reason behind this. But if we get just this one episode, it's got to be your favorite. I don't understand. How can you not enjoy a well-animated episode? The thing dragging this season down, the story was fine up to this point. The story was fine. Season 3 should have been fire. The beginning of this season should have been amazing. But because of poor animation and coloring, it really drags it down. And now you have an episode simplistic in nature, an epilogue feeling transition piece, and it feels like the best episode. Because animation counts in, go figure, anime. So either way, we're going to go through this. And I had to make sure that I took plenty of screenshots here so that I could talk about each one. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a version where I heard the new opening theme. I saw the animation for the opening theme, the new one. But I couldn't find a version to watch that had the new songs. They were, of course, copyright or whatever. So I saw the animation, did not listen to the songs yet, so I can't tell you my opinion on the new opening or ending. But yeah, so let's go through this. And I'm just going to keep, fangirling out here for a moment. But the beginning of this episode, we have Ludashel, which, once again, this is implying, like, the way Sariel and Tarmiel sort of lost, and Ludashel is seemingly having a death scene. It's implied that they are actually dying, but it was the same in the manga. It's never really stated. It was sort of, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I can't survive in this astral form for very long, but that never really implied that they would die. It's just that they wouldn't be able to maintain a physical form in the mortal realm any longer. Who knows how long it would take them to regain that power or come back to Earth or etc., but that's what's been told to us. It's unclear whether they actually die or not. That's up for debate to this day. Nobody really actually ever stated whether, maybe it's on the wiki or something, or maybe in something else that Nakaba released later. But as far as when I was reading the manga and stuff, I guess they just won't see him for a very long time. That's the way you take it. Or he's dead. Or he actually died. If he uses his astral form and he uses too much up of it, then he does die. So either way, you want to take that. The Ludashel death scene was fine. It had the nice overtone music. And it was just an overall good death scene. It was a nice scene. Then we jump into the fact that Meliodas actually retains and everyone's all worried about it. Everybody's down in the dumps like, yeah, we defeated the Demon King, but Elizabeth is going to die tomorrow. Like 3 days are going to be up tomorrow. So what are we going to do about this? It's like, and everyone's like, don't worry. Like, yes, it sucks, but she'll reincarnate again. And we'll all be here. We'll all fall in love with her again as a companion, as a friend, as a lover, etc., etc. And it'll be all good. We'll deal with it. We'll figure it out. And then Meliodas just like, actually, I sort of figured out a way to do this. Now, this is different from the manga. And I don't know why they changed this little aspect. Bond seems to remember because Meliodas implies here in the anime, this could have been the subtitle game, but implies that he gained enough power in Purgatory to get rid of the curses. And then Bond remembers, like, no, you didn't, I was there. And then he remembers when the Demon King taunted Meliodas about his original magical power. Something that I'm not going to lie to you guys, we never really found out what it was or what it did in the manga either. What is his original power? We don't know. Zell just had Ami in this nebula, great, but we don't know what Meliodas' was. It's implied that this is it. However, it's supposed, in the manga, it was implied that this is his Demon King power. As I said, if he overtakes his body and kicks the Demon King out, the Demon King said, you won't be able to survive on the mortal plane for very long. Like, and he said, as long as I save Elizabeth and get to say goodbye to my friends, I don't care. That's what was holding me back. I'm not sure if I like this explanation, But I think it is a better way to sort of incorporate the original magical power instead, rather than saying like it was the commandments his body got used to, like the Demon King's power or whatever, and now he gained, because the Demon King took over his body matured, and he's now able to utilize the level of the Demon King's power, hence he can destroy their curses and stuff. I think the idea that I sort of like this idea that the anime sort of did. They put it more in black and white than the manga. If this wasn't the intention in the manga, it slipped through the cracks for a lot of fans. I was on the Boar's Hat podcast at the time. I was reviewing it at the time. And I don't remember anybody in comment sections or videos or anybody saying, oh, that's this new white form that looks like the Demon King form is Meliodas' original magical power. Another thing that is... this did change it up, but I like the fact that the anime at least tried to incorporate the original magical power and justify that this is it. His power was always this strong. He was afraid to use it because he wouldn't be able to stay with everyone anymore. I buy that more than just original magical power and never mention again. So he turns into White Ranger Tiger power, and he destroys these curses. The curses look really cool. They're really well animated. Infinite perpetual reincarnation or perpetual rebirth and something else. Anyways, so he destroys the two curses. And that's really cool. And then they all, as I said, they go back. They see Hauser. Elaine's back in her adult form or teenage-looking form. Thank God. And just the music overtone, everything's nice. The Holy War is over. It's really well done. And then Elizabeth and Meliodas, everybody travels to go release Gelda. And once again, Gelda. She's they don't know where Zeldris is. Meliodas says that he's no longer in this world. That implies that he died, sort of idea, but he also says he disappeared after the fight with the Demon King. We don't know. And then he says, but he's not in this world. It's like, well, wait a minute now. You can't have it both ways. You can't say he went missing, we don't know where he is, and then literally 2 seconds later say, but he's definitely not here. It's like, well, you don't know that. He could literally be behind the rock right next to you, for all you know by the sounds of it. So I never really got that. I think it was supposed to showcase Gelda's undying devotion and love for Zeldris all this time, because they have a nice conversation and stuff. This is really, actually, it's a nice scene. I definitely like Zeldris. I like Gelda for Zeldris and stuff. Zeldris is definitely a great character. So this all makes a lot of sense. I'm good with this. This is fine for me. Little sad that we don't get to see any Zeldris that Zeldris just sort of deserves his happy ending. He was going to take the Demon King's throne. He was going to be able to, for a double reason. He was going to do it for the selfish reason and the selfless reason. He was going to turn it around, make it a place that, they're always going to be demons and darkness is a part of them, but they didn't need to be evil and warmongering and fire and brimstone and all that shit all the time, right? He was going to make it a peaceful place to live. Plus, with him on the throne, nobody could tell him, no, you can't, date the vampire chick. So, I mean, yeah, it was, it's nice to get that little scene with them. Then after this, we jump over to Bartra, Slater, and Simon. I don't remember this little comedic scene with Simon, where Bartra's thinking about Nadja and Denzel and looking out over the kingdom. The Holy War's over, but we still have things to do. We got to rebuild the kingdom and stuff, and I'm going to need your help. And he said, will you, Rosendon, stay with it? And Slater's like, absolutely, we will stay by your side no matter what. And Simon says, well, actually, I sort of had a date tonight. I have other plans. And Slater's just like, whack, no, you're staying here. His Majesty asked, so you're staying here. And I was just kind of like, I don't remember that scene. It might have happened in the manga, but if not, great addition in the great addition scene in the anime if it wasn't in the manga. I don't remember exactly offhand. Then we get a scene, once again, as I said, we're jumping through a lot of people, but I don't want to miss anything because I like all the scenes. We get Gil finally waking up, Gil and Margaret finally getting together in season 1. I love their story because it felt just as important because it was sort of going alongside of Elizabeth. all the sisters were relevant back then. We had Griever and Veronica. Veronica, a very, tomboyish she had a different perspective. We had Margaret, the eldest daughter, who seemed to have a level of maturity around her. Gilthunder, who suffered. Their story was actually better, I would argue, in season 1. The Gilthunder Margaret story with the whole, I am now more powerful than ever any of the 7 deadly sins. My hero, I knew you knew the answer. That whole thing was such a great plot twist in the first season, in the manga. That was part of their story sort of idea. So I was always a big fan of Margaret and a big fan of Gilthunder. I think they really worked well together. Get back when humans were sort of relevant. Feels like Dragon Ball Z up in here. But when humans were relevant and powerful in the original couple of seasons, this seemed like a really good direction for their characters. And I really, really like that. So nice to see that they're finally safe together. Nobody's mind controlled. Nobody's, under blackmail. Nobody's this. They can finally be together. Griever and Veronica have their little, moment together sort of idea. And Hauser, of course, poor Hauser, because you can sort of have the Tien, Krillin, Yamcha of the group. That's sort of what they've been referred to before. You get this in other things. It's just easy to reference, a famous one like Dragon Ball Z. Because they sort of did slide off just like Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin after Dragon Ball, sort of, if you will, season 1, and then into Dragon Ball Z, they became pretty irrelevant once more Saiyans got introduced, right? Same idea with 7 Deadly Sins with this group, but I still love their characters. I like Griever, I like Gilthunder, and I like Hauser, so it's funny to see them sort of interacting like this. And Hauser, of course, just like, he doesn't got a girl. Right? Like everybody else got a girl, and then he don't got a girl. Zelda's got a girl, Meliodas got a girl, Bond got a girl, Diane and King, they're together. And of course, Hauser is like the third wheel with the Diane King thing. So always felt bad for Hauser, because Hauser was pretty cool. I like his wind powers. Then we jump over to Dreyfus and Hendrickson. They have sort of a nice scene together where Dreyfus acknowledges, even Fraudrin, I know he was evil and stuff, but at the end, they still saw, of course, in Fraudrin's destiny, they sort of saw that level of good in it, how humanity, after 10 years being Dreyfus, rubbed off on Fraudrin, and he could have eventually come to a point to be like Meliodas eventually. Remember, Meliodas was evil as hell way back when. But everybody, eventually, over time, there's a redemption arc. And this 7 Deadly Sins as a whole, its main themes are reincarnation and redemption. That's the whole thing. Everybody has a sin. And Meliodas is, he said that line in the last episode, but he used to say this a lot more. That is your sin. Everybody has something they've done maybe well, but everybody has done something wrong, something they regret, something that eats at them in their past. Nobody is squeaky clean, sort of idea. And the idea is that means that everybody deserves to try at redemption. Whether you're forgiven or redeemed or not is not really the relevant thing, but everybody has the capacity to try, at the very least. Fraudrin sort of tried. And we have this little scene where Dreyfus is like, my wife, I don't know if that was mentioned before in the manga either. I didn't know Dreyfus' wife was dead. I seem to forget that. Griever or Dreyfus never mentioned that. Is that anime only? I'm not sure. But he basically says, Griever's grown up. I'm going to start a family soon. And, my wife is gone. My brother is gone. Zarathos is gone. And now even the comfort of having Fraudrin, once we sort of, even though he was evil and stuff, there's nobody to sort of talk to anymore. And as he says, Hendy, you have to stay around because you're now my only friend, you're my only confidant. They play it off as, I need somebody to vent to. I mean, nobody else will listen sort of idea, right? Somebody else to hang out with. So, but it's a nice scene between two very old friends who have been through a lot of shit. They've been through a lot of shit. And then we have Gila and Jericho with, they refer to him as Dale, but his name is Zeal, I believe. Dale was their father, so that was kind of weird. But, so, Gila's little brother. And they have a nice scene there with, I believe this is anime only, because I don't remember Matrona getting the ability to shrink like Deanne, because we have Jahard, we have Matrona, we have Gila, we have Jericho, and they just sort of share in a lighthearted, a fun scene, which once again, very nice. The end part, though, the end part of this episode was really nice because once again, the music from season 1. Yes, already I'm invested. Hawk, a lot of people don't like Hawk. A lot of people don't like him for his voice. A lot of people don't like him for his attitude in both Japanese and English, by the way. People are annoyed, but that's the point. He's supposed to be a talking pig. He's supposed to have the voice and stuff. I actually never minded that. And some of my favorite scenes from season 1 involve like Hawk's death scene with Hendrickson. The way Bond and everybody responds to it is just one of the best scenes. Is the fight against Hendrickson when Hawk sacrifices himself. It's a great scene. And Hawk here, finally, because one of the annoying things about Hawk has always been like, well, of course, I'm 10,000. To be fair, Merlin sort of lied to him or whispered, so he thought he was all that. But he's always been brimming with this confidence. In the back of his mind, he knew it was all bravado. But he's been putting it on now for over 300 chapters, for 4 seasons, and he just finally, after now that they've beaten a god, they beat the Demon King and stuff, he just feels, he finally has acknowledged that he is weak and he hasn't gotten any stronger. He's not somebody who went in the cave to grow. He's not somebody who can train in purgatory, which actually he probably could, because once again, but he isn't relevant in a fight. He's always been weak. He's been holding people back, and finally, and he feels worthless. This, even if you didn't like Hawk up to this point, this is actually fantastic character growth and good character development for him, because in this fight, see, unlike things like the Hendrickson fight where he was relevant, the sacrifice there, even though he didn't beat him on his own or attack him or whatever, he was relevant in the first season and stuff. In major fights, Hawk has always done something, either fly away and save Gother, or catch Elizabeth in time, or sacrifice himself so Meliodas can power up. Whatever, there's always a thing. And this season, in this fight, in the Holy War, he didn't do anything. He wasn't relevant. He couldn't help anybody. He was basically just there as baggage, and he knows it. And he finally just has broken down and just says, you guys, like, why would you even want me around, blah, blah, blah. And Meliodas and Bond, of course, his best friends, they're there just sort of like, hey, like, Meliodas is, of course, making a light of it, making a joke, like, you sure you didn't eat something weird? You're snotting this. And Bond keeps smacking Meliodas upside the head, like, insensitive. And they finally say, Meliodas and Bond both say, and Meliodas finally gets serious after a bit, after, Hawk's just crying, and once again, very well animated scene, probably the best shot. The characters look like they're on a goddamn movie poster, and Hawk just weeping into his food, and Meliodas just tells him, look, yeah, you are weak, you might not be strong, but you're no coward. You literally have never been a coward. So even though you're weak, and even though you weren't able to do anything, nobody can take away that you're one of the bravest, pigs or people, I guess, one of the bravest people we know. Because you literally, knowing this, because he acknowledged, he's known it all along, he knew it, he literally talked smack to a god. The Demon King comes in Meliodas' body, and he just talks trash to him. That has been Hawk's thing, talking trash to people way stronger than him, and always getting saved. But, I mean, he's no coward, right? So they acknowledge that, and of course we see them smiling and stuff. So there's another hilarious scene there where he finally goes, you guys, like, you're my friends and stuff, and he tries to jump on them to get a hug, and they just dodge out of the way, and he's like, what the hell, guys, after that scene and stuff, and it's like, did that break up the tension? And he said, no, you're full of, like, food scraps, snot, and tears. It's sort of gross and stuff, but he said, hey, we have a way to cheer you up, and they sing the song that Wild, of course, from Purgatory, and they don't tell him at this point that, like, hey, we met your brother, your name's actually Mild or anything like that, but they sing the song, Bond and Meliodas singing, Wild, Wild, and or Mild, sleep my little brother, sleep tight my little brother, and they're just singing along and stuff in there, and Hawk's still there, and he's just sitting on the ground like, what a crappy song, like, why are you guys singing this? What is this song even about? This is just ridiculous. And then he goes, but for some reason I can't stop crying because, of course, subconsciously he remembers this stuff, and it's really, really nice. And then they go to the boar's hat, and that's the end of the episode. So this review is going to be like 35 minutes long, I swear to God, because I'm not even done yet. That's the episode, but I need to talk about every scene because finally an episode I enjoy. Like, all of my reviews would be 30 minutes long, seriously, if we had this level of animation, because I'd want to talk about every scene because I enjoyed every scene and I like all these characters and I want to enjoy it. So I have no idea. Now, so that was the episode. Let's end the review on the note, the one thing that's bad. I could see this being stuck in season 2. The quality of the animation and everything, the songs, the voice acting, everything, this is worthy of being plucked into a season 2. Or the Netflix's season 2, that 4-episode filler or whatever. I could see it plugged there. Is it as good? No. It would be a sort of a mid-quality A1 Pictures episode, but if I was told that A1 Pictures animated parts of this episode, I would believe that. I would believe it 100% if somebody told me that. So, it's amazing what animation can do. But my problem with this episode is, well, 2 problems. Number 1, I can't see this meaning that the rest of the season is going to be this good. Can't see it. Because if that was the case, what the hell was the first 12 episodes? Seriously. Why the hell were the first 12 episodes what they were, and in the middle of the season we get this? I think... So I have zero expectations that from episode 13 on is going to now be fire. Low A1, Madhouse A1 Pictures quality, Bones quality. I'm not expecting it because that's setting ourselves up for failure. Failure, I say. And number two is that why this episode? Don't get me wrong. I love this episode. But the reason I love the episode is because I love the characters and enjoy Seven Deadly Sins. I enjoy the sound, I enjoy the characters, etc., etc. I enjoy the story. The thing that I didn't enjoy was the terrible animation this whole damn season and last season. So, this episode was great and felt even better because it's almost like Christmas came early. We didn't expect it. So, out of all episodes, though I like this episode because it's well animated, I don't understand why this episode. It's not the end of season 4. It's halfway through the season. It's an epilogue. I sort of get it. It's sort of the halfway point of the season, but I don't understand why. Why this episode? Why not spend this budget on the Demon King fight? Why not spend it on Bond and Meliodas and Wild versus the Demon King? Why not spend it on Mael versus Zeldris? Why not spend it on, whatever? Why this episode? Is it because there wasn't a whole lot of animation? I mean, there was, but there was no fights, so they could spend more time and it was easier. I don't know, but, And see, I don't even buy even that because the Geldas, all the movements were good. Meliodas destroying the curses was fine. The hugging animations, the just everything was just fine. Hawk crying and everything and jumping towards the guys and movements and stuff. So there was plenty of animation here. I don't even buy that. I just want to understand why. Did they feel like, okay, it's end of part 1. Now we're on to part 2, so we got to end it on at least a decent note sort of idea because we know the last fight was not well animated. We know we've been slacking. Is that... I don't know what the reason is, but as I said, so those are the sort of flaws with this. But overall, episode, got 0 complaints. Not a complaint about the episode itself. Sound... Goddamn, but why did you wait 12 episodes to bring me my soundtrack? They had it right in season 1. Why did you keep trying to make new stuff? You already had it. Why change it? And then, and then the characters, story, the animation. What's not to like? What's not to like about this episode? So, anyways, yeah, so this review is going to be super long. But this one, because I want this known out there, I want this put out there, I'm going to be sharing this episode. Sometimes I do this quite a few times, but I'm going to share this episode on all the Discord promo things that I can. I know they're not going to like it, but I'm going to share it on the Reddits anyways. I don't have time to be on Reddit and contribute enough, so they're going to hate it and probably take it down. But I don't care. I'll get kicked out of the 7 Deadly Sins ones. I'm going to post it on Reddit. I'm going to post it where anybody will listen, because I'm going to post it on Twitter, because I need people to understand that this episode was actually good, and this is all we wanted. Season 3 and 4 were only bad due to animation. Only bad due to animation. Lack of using original soundtrack and bad animation. Voice acting, fine. Storyline, fine. Storyline might go down from here, but that's for future. That's for future Griever to deal with. That's for future you guys to deal with. So, I don't know. Either way, I love this episode. Hope you guys did too. I know this was a long video, but this is passion. This is called passion, ladies and gentlemen. This is passion. So, like, comment, and subscribe. As always makes me very happy to see all that. And definitely comment down below. This made my week. There's been a couple of hiccups in this week. A short week, so there's a lot of return to work crap. But this really started. This made my day. I got shit to deal with tomorrow. So I'm just excited that I actually got this little treat. I think we all got a treat with this episode. So, thank you guys so much for watching. As I already said, like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you guys back here next time for episode 14. I believe we're on episode 14. This was 13. So, we'll see you back here next time. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.